Okay, let's get started. Hi, I'm Hongchan, and this is my talk live after. Some of you probably know me. I have worked on a web audio API in Google Chrome since 2014. Now I'm leading a team that is responsible for audio, MIDI, and various device capabilities in Chrome Web Platform team. I also have a couple more hats here and there, but first of all, I am honored to be invited as a keynote speaker for the conference today. And I'm deeply grateful to Professor Buffa and people behind this awesome event. Also, my apologies to you for presenting the keynote remotely. It's kind of less fun. Just so you know, this is our 7th in series. So it's kind of funny looking back. Chris Wilson was the first keynote speaker, and he briefly revealed my internship project in his keynote speech in 2015. I guess now we are going in a full circle. It is also sad that we cannot find that video anymore. So the title of my talk today is Life After. To set up some expectations first, I don't have shiny demo or cutting edge features to show off today. In that sense, it might be a little bit boring talk if that's what you expect. To make this problem even worse, I might be throwing a couple of uncomfortable questions that I really don't have great answers. Yeah, we were ambitious. For the sake of the simplicity, when I say we today, it means our web audio community. We were brave enough to reinvent a lot of wheels to bring music making to the web. Over past years, you built all these amazing things, so now we have a diverse ecosystem. It is thriving and going strong, so I don't need to try to convince people anymore. So, I do believe that we have a great momentum now. Here are some interesting numbers. The internet user is about 5 billion in total, and 63% of population uses desktop to access it. Considering that the most of the creativity and media production apps still are centered around the desktop environment, I would say this is a good news. Chrome's daily web audio activation is about 200 million, and it is steadily growing. And now we have more than 5 web-based DAWs in the market. The spectrum of application is getting broader every day. Web audio is being used by media production apps, teleconferencing, and music education. The interoperability is a still thorny issue, but the good news is that all major browsers support audio worklet today. Also, a fun fact, in June, the Audio Working Group got rechartered until 2024, and it started in 2011, so it has been almost 11 years, more than a decade, technically. So, we as a community should celebrate what we have achieved. And I, as a person who work on platforms, should thank you for these awesome apps and services. The Chrome Web Audio team and W3C Audio Working Group can exist today because we have amazing things to support, not the other way around. So once again, thank you. Okay, then here comes the question for the day. What's next for us? With next here, I don't mean a tactical thing. That is, it's not about some features or applications that we are planning to ship in next quarter or a year later. Let's say all browser vendors stop investing on web music technology after 2024. What will happen? How about 10 years from now? Will our community and our ecosystem continue to be relevant? Will it still matter? Well, then you might ask, Hey, you're making me uncomfortable. Why do you need to ask that kind of question? Why are you the way that you are? Like, I was celebrating 2 slides ago. Now I am a fear mongering downer. But it's not without reasons. So, I'm going to spend a few minutes to share the story of how I got to this question. In 2013, I was an intern in Chrome team. I had a privilege to work with Chris Rogers and Chris Wilson, the founding fathers of web audio and web media API. I truly loved what I get to do every day. Making demos, designing lots of proof of concepts. Then I joined the Chrome team as a full-time engineer to work on Chrome's web audio API implementation. Also, there was another fun gig. The working with Paul from Mozilla and other members in W3C Audio Working Group to bring audio worklet to this world. And some years later, I heard a rumor that some people are questioning the value of a web audio team. That was a big moment for me. I thought that now I finally got my dream job and with a real world impact. So I thought I would be able to do this for another decade at least. I quickly learned that the only way to save the team is to step up as technical lead, to voice the importance of web audio, and justify our work against the other competing priorities. But at the same time, it felt like a big compromise to me back then because it meant I cannot immerse myself with the pure engineering fun anymore. But it was not all bad. I finally had a chance to learn about what other teams are doing, and I learned about their real world impact. I saw their stats and metrics. That was another revelation. The web is a vast place, and web audio and MIDI might be just too small to matter. I'm not gonna lie, that made me question the whole premise of what we do. If there are competing priorities with big numbers, and web audio, MIDI don't matter much, how do we survive this battle? Before I came to US, I had my fair share of career as a musician. Then I was completely surrounded by people who are deeply passionate about computer music. So the music was the world that I lived in, just like all of you here today. But the evidence in front of my eyes says that I've been out of touch or even slightly delusional. Then I thought my revelation and observation could be useful to everyone in our community. This lesson and perspective can help us build something more meaningful, useful, and helpful, which leads to the real world impact. In turn, we strengthen the ecosystem so it can survive the next decade. This tweet is the evidence of my struggle in 2019. It was me slowly realizing that shipping awesome APIs and applications alone might not be good enough. So what did I do? Find a greater cause that I can be aligned with. When I heard some people in Chrome team, they wanted to ship powerful APIs that were not available on the web, I thought it could be something I can be a part of. That effort is known as Project Fugu. Why Fugu? That fish is considered as a delicacy in Korea and Japan, but it could be deadly if it is not prepared properly. Powerful APIs can be deadly. We wanted to prepare them carefully for the web. So developers can use them with confidence. The primary goal of Project Fugu was bridging the app gap. The goal of this strategy was to catch up with the native platform by introducing powerful APIs to the web browser. That's exciting. The most notable outcome in this area was Adobe Photoshop on the web. The strategy definitely makes sense for them because the Creative Suite is already massively successful on native platforms. So expanding to the web seems like a no-brainer. But how successful are they? According to their 2020 Q2 earning report, the total revenue is up at $3.1 billion. Out of total, the subscription revenue was $2.8 billion, and the product and services category were about $250 million. Okay, then, how does our music software industry compare? To be clear, we were just comparing ours with Adobe's product and services in this bar chart. I didn't include the subscription revenue because that number was just too big for comparison. Our red bar is the annual revenue of entire music software industry in US. It makes you think, right? Let's top that with another graph. Here's a trend of the music software revenue excluding plugins and sample loops. Can you see the trend? I personally think 2020 is an outlier caused by pandemic, but we never know. Two things. So roughly speaking, the entire music software market revenue in US is smaller than Adobe's product and services revenue. Also, our industry annual revenue was butchered by 30% over a decade until 2020. During the same period, the US GDP growth rate was 2.2%. I'm throwing a lot of numbers here, but my point is the signal cannot be clearer than this. Our pie is small and shrinking. Let alone this shrinking pie problem, we might need a different goal or rationale. Our goal so far was to play catch up with native applications. That was our promised land. So let's say if we get there, let's say we have all the things that we wanted and dreamed of, like round trip latency under 10 milliseconds, and highly optimized audio workload and WebAssembly combination, and improved SIMD support, better device APIs, and complete cross-browser interoperability. Then what? Perhaps we'll have web-based DAWs that are comparable or slightly better than native ones. Perhaps we'll have an open and community-driven plugin protocol that can be used by all web audio apps. That sounds cool and awesome, but to me, it looks like we will be pitting against native software within the same old market, which has been constantly shrinking. We need to grow the pie, not jumping into a shrinking one. And this money problem does not end here. If developers can be profitable, they will leave. It leads to less contents on the web. If there's nothing to consume, users will leave. And when user base gets smaller, the platform investment gets smaller as well. And when the platform is not moving forward, that's another reason for developers to leave. This spiral continues until the entire ecosystem decays and fades away. But it could be better. So how do we flip the switch? Well, I do have some thoughts from some years of observation. I wouldn't say this is a solution, but it is from my experience working at a company with a bit of influence in many areas. I might name some folks and products, but to be clear, it's my own personal opinion and not an endorsement from my employer. First, content creation tools for social and short form media. Well, let's face it, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, the creator economy is the future. The good news is more people are interested in creating and producing music, audio, video, and whatever. Creator these days, they want it easy and fast. Who doesn't? They prefer velocity over quality. It's about getting stuff done. So now we're living in the era where good enough is the new great. This shift of a paradigm actually can work in our advantages. For example, Microsoft Word has a ton of features, but often people, especially younger generation, they love Google Docs or comparable web-based collaborative tools, despite the lack of the feature parity. Some web-based DAWs became quite popular during the pandemic because schools were looking for something that can be easily picked up by younger students for music education. In this case, good enough is definitely better than the great. These web apps can run on low-tier Chromebooks, and everything can be instantly accessible and shareable by clicking a link. It doesn't have state-of-the-art vintage compressor emulation or sophisticated analog modeling synthesizer, but does it really matter? Second, AI ML assisted media production. With this logic, we can say that not everything needs touch-up maestro or handcrafted musical material. There is a ton of opportunities in automating musicking with the power of AI and ML, what I would call artificial creativity. Magenta, HeartSound.com, Adobe Shasta, many people, many projects are already toying with this idea. I quickly mention these names, but I highly recommend you to look them up and watch the demo video. The future is now, it's just not evenly distributed. Graphics people have DALL-E. Is it too much of an ask to have that kind of thing for music making? Or GitHub Copilot, but for MIDI programming? But all these to happen, you need networking functionalities that can take advantage of the power of cloud computing. Doesn't it sound like advantage for browser? While these amazing prototypes and demos are built on top of web platform. Strange, huh? Okay, moving on. Third, distributed collaborative media production. One of my jobs is meeting interesting partners. And surprisingly, many of them have said that they are implementing real-time collaboration, or they have a plan to do in the near future. It's kind of default buzzword for the web apps, right? That's great, but what actually do we mean by real-time collaboration in DAWs? Like having two cursors in the same project view? Having a small chat or video chat window on the bottom right corner? Or do we want people to perform together in the same project? First of all, the real-time collaboration is a feature, not a goal. So what's the goal of having the new and shiny mode of working together? I wrote about this framework a while ago in my thesis, but it still seems relevant. In short, Musicking can be in the spectrum of two extremes: performance-oriented or production-oriented. In my view, the web can be a great medium for production-oriented tasks. Its nature of being ubiquitous and instant helps people work seamlessly, asynchronously, and concurrently. We want seamless collaboration because it makes the workflow concurrent, not sequential. In my opinion, real-time is kind of illusion. We should focus more on boosting productivity by making process seamless. Number 4, music education. I think we already won the war in this area. Soundtrap and BandLab are already doing great. We also have a futuristic media like Ableton's learning web apps. I also heard SoundSlice is a very popular resource for music education as well. These awesome accomplishments are how people learn computer music today. I really don't have much to say here because the offerings from the native world hasn't been that great anyway. I guess one clear next step is to support high quality audio like low latency and spatialization and enhancement with motion tracking technology in teleconferencing applications. That will change how we do music lessons. With the Chrome engineer hat on, here's what I am thinking for next 2 years. The audio application on the web is getting more complex and diverse. The platform can only keep up so much with the new requests and feedback from developers. So it's better to add more low-level, powerful APIs instead of high-level abstractions. Composability and extensibility always win in the end. For example, WebRTC has been very powerful APIs that enabled whole genre of application for teleconferencing. But it abstracted away many low-level components from developers. Like everything else, this can go both ways. Easier to use, but you lose specificity. Today, some people think that we might be able to replace this monolithic stack with set up a low-level component, like web audio, web codec, web transport, and etc. As apps become more mature and specialized, the importance of powerful low-level capabilities becomes more essential. Yes, this is about bridging the gap. The near-term goal is still catching up the native platform. This is the roadmap of Chrome Web Audio team for the next 2 years. In the first 6 months, we shipped audio context output latency and the new DevTool extension for web audio. The team is currently working on new APIs like render performance reporting and output device selection. Our summer interns are working hard on improving examples for audio worklet and creating a deprecation plan for a script processor node. In upcoming quarters by 2024, the team will be working on many things: reducing round-trip audio latency and worker support of web audio and MIDI, panel node optimization, better WASM integration for audio worklet. We are also planning an experiment to bring audio input selection on audio context. I hope this plan is aligned with yours. If not, perhaps it is a good reason for us to meet and chat. Okay, here's my final thought. It's basically me asking favors to the community. We are not about machine learning or NFT. So with high confidence, I can say that we are not going to get explosive attention from the world. A relatively small population will care about what we do. So, our pie is not huge or ever growing like e-commerce or ad business. So things will get a lot easier when we work together because we're small. That can be done by establishing partnership. Even we are working for different companies or different products. I think the community can set a common goal and push together. The partnership is the primary reason that Chrome Web Audio team still exists. If there are hero applications that the team needs to support, writing up rationale for the future investment is relatively easy. So talk to us, ask questions, and give us feedback. Does it really work? Well, I do have so many stories to share, but here's one. When a company reached out with questions around output latency, we designed, implemented, and shipped in just 1 quarter. We set aside the original plan because the partner came to us with a strong rationale why it is important for them. So you can improve your product, and we get credits for building something that people actually want. And also, now we have a strong partnership moving forward. So yeah, the way I see it, this is a win-win scenario, and the strategy actually works. Secondly, catching up with native apps will be the near-term goal. However, that should not be our final destination. Remember the story of the shrinking pie? I try to shed some light on a couple of future directions, but I also would love to hear your thoughts on this. We need to talk more about long-term strategy as a community. Also, don't forget the browser can be the best of both worlds. In my opinion, it is the most capable general computing platform. And if we can bring the first-class audio functionality to the table, it would be an awesome space for creativity and media production applications. I think we are slowly getting there. Finally, here's my commitment. To support this amazing community, I'll do my best to convince decision makers and stakeholders in my company so we can maintain or grow the investment in this area. I'll also work with new team members in Chrome Web Audio team to improve the implementation and ship new features. And again, I will always proactively communicate more with this community or future partners. So please feel free to reach out. Well, that's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching this long talk with no demos. Cheers.
Okay, thank you, Hongchan. We will try to reach you on Zoom. So normally Hongchan is online, so you'll be able to ask questions. Hongchan? Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, we are trying to put you full screen, so maybe double click. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So Hongchan, thanks for the very nice video. I'm sorry, the YouTube stream didn't have sound, so we fixed that, but the Zoom one was okay. Okay, so some students will bring microphones, so raise your hand if you have questions for Hongchan. Any question or comments?
Hello. I have a question. You mentioned the total revenue of music software in the US. But,
Right.
I think many, if I'm not mistaken, many major DAWs are based in Europe. Do you know the total revenue of music software in Europe as well?
That data should be available on NAM's global report as well. Yeah,
Okay.
but I didn't actually capture that in my presentation. But I think the U.S. revenue is I think the biggest in the world. So I
Oh, really?
thought that would be the most representative data.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question?
Hey, thanks for the great talk. I was curious, when you're developing a new tool, how do you incorporate the needs of composers? Do you do interviews with them? Do you speak with different kinds of people doing different work? What's the process like when it comes to developing something new?
So when you say tool here, is that like the application? Right. So I'm more of a platform developer, not application developer. So I haven't actually experienced that like ideation and design development process, but I usually talk to the partner who create applications like that. So in short, yeah, I don't have any direct experience, but I think it really depends on the company and applications.
And
Sorry.
also in terms of adding elements, adding new features or elements to the platform
Right.
as well. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean the most effective way that I've been tried in the past is collecting direct feedback from developer through the survey. I think that was quite effective. So we've been doing that for the last 2 years. We have, I think we can do one more iteration of like collecting feedback from developers and application makers. Uh, but I think we should deliver a new feature first and then ask questions.
Hello. Thank you very much for the talk. I'm amazed and happy that from this point of view of big numbers and the commercial world and commercial impact, you're coming to the same conclusion as we people who are more into marginal applications and artistic projects, and that it's maybe not so interesting to redo the same applications we already have as native applications as web. Well, it's done, it's good that we did it, and it comes naturally, whatever that means in the web, but naturally authentically with new features like collaboration, which is already something amazing. And then you mentioned some lines of where, as well in the commercial world, we might get a niche for impact on social media tools and things like that. And I don't know where the question is. I hope just that there are some other applications we will get through too, because the web is still a new tool apparently. And I think beyond TikTok, there is as well place for some more deepening approaches to making music together. And I'm happy that we're still around with this conference because I think this is a place where we can figure this out as a small group in collaboration. And yeah, thank you very much to insist on this point that a small community must work together and across all borders of commercial and not commercial, and big companies and small companies and private people. And I think this conference is a good embodiment of such a community. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for the comment. And yeah, I 100% agree with you. If I can shed a little bit more light on those social media like TikTok, Instagram, those are just like an example of a media consumption channel. So what I think is interesting is a lot of big companies are investing money on tools for creators. I mean, I think in the future, those media consumption channels can be evolved or could be different things. We will have some different form of TikTok or different form of YouTube Short. But the question here is a lot of people have interest in creating short form media, and big companies are trying to invest more on that. So I think having some level of alignment with that direction actually give us like big leverage. So why don't we just like take advantage of that? So yeah, that was what I was trying to point out. But somehow we should, if I message was shown something like we should focus on supporting TikTok or YouTube Short, that was not the case at all, right?
Okay, I've got a comment, not really a question. Is that you talked about AI for generating media applications or whatever. So this afternoon we will have David Rousset who will talk about web audio and XR and VR. And he's from Microsoft, but he is one of the co-creator of the Babylon.js JavaScript library for writing 3D applications. And I listened to a podcast where he was presenting something, and he talked about GPT-3 and DALL-E that have been trained at Microsoft in a week to read all the documentation and GitHub projects about Babylon.js. And just after, one guy from his team just made some demos speaking, please create me a chair, and blah, blah, blah. The code was generated, compiling, and running a 3D chair. Please make it turn. I want a cube on the left, a cube on the right. A bit like the AI that is generating CSS rules. I don't know if you tried it. And it took only a week. So, Hongchan, as a chair of the Web Audio Working Group, and we've got also the specification editor here, do you think that you could use these tools to train an AI to generate on demand using natural language some web audio code or web MIDI code?
You mean you're talking about actual code, not the like musical material?
Yeah, but code that runs, so that means automatic generation. Yes.
I mean, why not? Yeah, I don't think it's impossible at this point. I mean,
actually, I was challenging you.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Ah, yeah.
I'll think about it over the vacation.
Okay, and another comment, and after that it will be the coffee break. We forgot during the opening talk to talk that we've got something new this year. It's we've got a Greek community that is represented here by Chrysoula and Konstantinos. Yes, so they are organizing Friday afternoon the WECML workshop that is about music pedagogy, teaching, and collaboration using the web platform for learning music collaboratively and so on. So they will have 6 research papers in this same room. So it's more than a traditional workshop that is more technical, you know, that we've got during the previous editions. So I encourage you to assist, to attend this workshop. I'll be there just to know what this sub-community is doing, and we hope to integrate it to the larger web audio community, and also take some time to speak with Chrysoula and Konstantinos and see some of the presented papers, because I think it's related to what Hongchan said, that we must find new kind of applications, not just reproducing the native ones. No, just go, just go. It will be, just sit here and you will attend. Okay, and I don't know if Kichuan is here. We've got also a workshop about live coding languages. It's not arrived yet, I think. Okay, so we have 2 workshops on Friday afternoon that you could attend. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot, Hongchan. Don't forget my challenge. And we will have a coffee break, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have fun.
So we've got a 15-minute coffee break, and then we will start the first research paper presentation.